My guest today is Dr. Van Merkle, who's one of my heroes, and we're going to talk about him a little bit more later and why we're doing what we're doing. We had quite a few questions this weekend. Hey, what are you promoting? Which lab? I know this has nothing to do about promoting a lab. This is about promoting you being able to understand your patients better and to do the specific testing you might need to find out what their foundational problem is. And then Dr. Merkle is the one that coined that term. We do functional labs, but what's the foundation of the person? And we're going to talk about that in a little bit here, but let me talk about a couple of disclaimers first. Just to make it clear, this is my work that I'm talking about, my formulations that I have formulated. Dr. Merkle's research, his clinical practice, we are talking about. So this isn't Zymogen speaking, and we are doing this on their website, but this has to do with us and our research. They don't take responsibility for what we're talking about or patients we talk about or that type of thing. Neither one of us are employees. We're customers for sure, and I don't get paid, neither will Dr. Merkle, for doing this webinar. I am a shareholder. I believe so much in this company. I believe it's the #1 company in manufacturing in the world for nutraceuticals, so I actually spend my hard-earned cash, and I'm a shareholder, so I want them to go. I want your practice to go. It's important that you realize we're not telling you use this specific nutrition to help this disease. It doesn't do it. I mean, that's not what I do. My license allows me to help improve function through the spine and through things that support a chiropractic adjustment. Those of you that are naturopaths or MDs or DOs, they have a slightly different approach, but that's the way most of our licenses stay throughout the country. So our job is to evaluate function, find out where it is dysfunctional, and to improve the function. When we improve function, the symptoms go away because there's no longer a dis-ease in many, many cases. And you will also see that we really believe that nutrition does help to improve function. So does the chiropractic adjustment. So does craniosacral and visceral and this type of thing. So also you understand we're never saying to replace a drug with nutrition. What we're saying is let's use nutrition to get the optimal function, and if the named and blamed disease goes away, that's not our fault. We'll let nature take that. Our job is to help people get healthier and to give the right nutrition and structural care, etc., that helps people to do that. What I am a formulator of is the Bioenergex nutrition. It is manufactured by Zymogen for you, but I am the formulator of this entire line. And it's I have been formulating now for almost 40 of my 42 years of practice. I have developed over 150 different nutraceuticals, and in my opinion, we have the very best improvement of anything I've ever done in the Bioenergex line. They have allowed us to offer a special through the end of this month that we'd love to have you know about and take advantage of. If you buy 6 bottles of any of the Bioenergex nutrition we're talking about, you get 1 bottle free. If you buy 10, you get 2 bottles free. If you buy 24 or more, you get up to 5 bottles free of the Bioenergex nutrition. So as you can also see here, if you order $250 or more, then there's a Brimhall test kit. It's kind of hard if you do kinesiology not to have the test kits, and they're available for you. So we ask you to take advantage of that. To preface my remarks and Dr. Merkle's remarks, when we talk about the foundation of health, Goodhart always said, and I followed Goodhart for the last almost 50 years, he said structure rules function. So if the light switch is off, the light bulb doesn't come on, I don't care how big a light bulb you put in. And when we treat the spine as a chiropractor, we're really treating the brain. So we treat, I say, a chiropractor that doesn't adjust above Atlas as a D-cerebral chiropractor. We adjust the spine. We teach in our seminars how to adjust the craniosacral mechanism. We check for electromagnetic pollution. We make sure we evaluate the nutrition with blood, with air, with provocative challenges, urine challenges. Dr. Van may talk about it a little bit, if not now, definitely later. We're prefacing this webinar and a couple others we'll do between now and January, because every year we have a blowout. And we have a seminar to where we bring the best speakers in the world in. And Dr. Van Merkle will be there helping us to get you to understand functional medicine and foundational blood testing, hair analysis, and how to blend them together, and how to do provocative challenges to release heavy metals that are locked into the cells. And with DMSA, you can open up and you can identify them and just help patients above and beyond what you've ever been able to do before. Because a lot of the problems we have are toxic stores. This year, we also are going to have Dr. David Singer, the premier chiropractor, and teaching you how to open up a new practice, how to expand your practice, get new patients. So it's incredible. Dr. Brett will be on, I will be on, And so Dr. Merkle, Dr. Singer, it's going to be an amazing, so put that down the last weekend of the month in January. And Dr. Merkle is going to come on a couple of times with me. He's going to write some puzzle pieces to get you thinking about foundational and functional medicine. So emotional stress ties into this as well, and then toxic accumulation. So as a chiropractor, and I eat, sleep, and drink chiropractic, I didn't become a chiropractor because I flunked out of med school. I became a chiropractor because I was paralyzed from the waist down. They carried me in, he adjusted me, and I walked out. I was actually studying to be a dentist, and I changed my life, and I have had an incredible life helping people, and I have found there's more than one cause of dysfunction. I found there's structural causes, electrical pollution problems, nutritional interferences, there's allergies and sensitivities, emotional stresses, and toxic accumulation. So what we do is work on all 6 at the same time. We call those the 6 steps to wellness. I'm going to go over a patient that was one of the patients that came in to see my son, Dr. Brett Brimhall. My oldest son's an orthopedic surgeon. His wife has her doctorate in physical therapy. Dr. Brett's a chiropractor, and Dr. Brock is a dentist. So we look at this at all different angles, and we collaborate together. And there's no such thing as an enemy in this field. We all need to work together to help each other. This particular girl had been under medical care, and in fact, what happened is she went in for a complexion problem. She had real bad acne. They put her on some, I believe, Accutane, other drugs to try to clear up her complexion, and in a very short time she started manifesting lupus erythematosus. And so medical diagnosis now, not chiropractic evaluation, medical diagnosis was lupus. So this young girl was referred in, and you can see just the vitals there. She's 5'6", 145, blood pressure 106/68. So we started thinking, gee, sympathetic problems, maybe thyroid, low blood pressure here, maybe no ferritin, low iron. Just things start running through your mind going on, plus an autoimmune condition that's already been diagnosed. Her pulse ox should be, in Arizona, you kidding me, it should be 98%. Her was scored down to 83. Heart rate was 95. So it makes you think, gosh, she's pumping water instead of blood, oxygenated blood, so she's having to pump faster to try to get what's there. So we'll look at the blood test and see what happens. But what we're going to show you on this is what I really learned from Dr. Merkle, which really aligns us. I have taught the use of hair analysis since 1973 all over the world. And correlating here with blood, I never did until I started looking at Dr. Merkle's work, and he does that in a reporting system that just makes it so simple, all of you become smart. Because they've gone into the literature, they pull out the reference journals and give you the literature that tells you what that means according to the literature and are constantly updating it. You'll see it when it comes forward here. The lupus, indigestion, poor concentration, memory, anxiety, and stress. At age, are you kidding me, 17 years old, I caused everybody anxiety and stress, but I sure didn't have any. And already she's having these kinds of symptomatic expressions. So here's her blood, and this is going to be recorded so you can look up close and personal with this. I'm sorry, there's so much information here we do not have time to go into. I'm going to highlight it, but the recording is here. You can go back and study them out. And then Dr. Merkle will let you know how you can look at other tests, and I'll be teaching this at every seminar that I do. But basically, he has made this report so good. If it's white, it's in the optimal ranges. If it's yellow, there's a little bit of a problem. If it's red, you better really get close attention going on here. And as he said, if it's blue, it's code blue. So we're only going to talk about the blues here today, and you can go back and study at your leisure because he has put in here in this report what each one of these things mean and the correlations of them and what the priorities might be to look at. So let's look at her HDL at 22, unbelievably low. And we know HDL is a good protective kind of cholesterol. It takes the fats away from the extremities and puts it back in the liver to be processed. 80% to 90% of your HDL comes from your liver production, not from diet. So there's something we have to look at right to start with. Her total cholesterol is high, but what we call the good cholesterol is low. Her albumin to globulin ratio is off, so we're looking here, wow, we have some stress in the kidney area for sure. The real clincher is we look at C-reactive protein. This means that you're on fire. So here's a 17-year-old girl on fire, and of course that's one of the major things that causes the autoimmune reaction and lupus to go on the body. Research has shown us now inflammation is underlying cause of diabetes, cancer, arthritis, and pick a number. Red blood count cell was low. Hemoglobin was low. So we were right about anemia just looking at her case history. Her monocytes are low, so her immune system is not responding very well to a potential infection going on in the body. even though what you see up here, her polysegs are high and her lymphocytes are low. We look down here further, though. Here's the real clincher. This is the SED rate shows potential electric reaction in the body, inflammation going into the body potentially attacking itself. If we look up here under healthy, we want her SED rate to be no higher than 6. Even pathological, we give you both the clinical lab studies and what optimal is from many different research areas. So we never want it to go above 200, above 20, and she's 99. So here's what I started asking myself, why? Why does a girl this age have this kind of problem? And then we started running hair analysis and comparing it to the blood studies, and then found out Dr. Merkle actually did that in a computer-written report, and that's when we hooked up and have been following his work now for many years. So you can see this particular young girl had arsenic, barium, bismuth, cadmium, uranium, nickel, silver, tin, and titanium. Remember, yellow is a little bit, red, so you're getting in trouble, and blue is really high compared to optimal levels. And then when we look down in her good minerals, her trace minerals, calcium is way high. When you get calcium and magnesium high, according to a lot of the research that's been done in hair analysis, when that goes high together and sodium and potassium go low together, that is missed calcium, missed magnesium. It's not like you're eating too much. It's like it's leaking out from where it belongs, so to speak, and going out into the extremities of the body. With high calcium, magnesium, low sodium, potassium, you look at adrenal exhaustion and exogenous deposition of calcium and magnesium. And we're not going to go over this whole report, but copper being high copper literally increases the oxidation rate of adrenaline. It burns your adrenal glands up. No wonder that's showing there. So we've got to get the copper out. We don't stop there. Look at all the different highs and lows and everything going on through here. But one thing we always look at that we're really worried about is if we start getting some of the heavy metals that are very toxic and poisonous in the body, like uranium. I have found uranium very high in Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, and this particular person happens to be from Arizona, but I've also seen it high in Texas. I've seen it high in California and a lot of other places, but particularly in the western states. They did uranium mining here during the atomic weapon testing and exploding era through here. So what we have learned to do, and I developed, looking at these tests together, homeopathic remedies that helps to trigger the release of all of this heavy metals in here while you balance out the good trace minerals. If you try to balance these guys out, or even try to balance out the blood without detoxifying, you haven't read the literature. You start reading what each one of these heavy metals does, and it messes up the enzyme system in the body. 5,300 enzyme systems in the body, 80% have magnesium in them. 20% have zinc in them. And these guys displace the good minerals and supplement it with the toxic minerals. And that's a major problem going on. So what Dr. Merkle's product is, and he calls it science-based nutrition because he's based it on science, is he has put in here the interpretation of the lab results. What does the hair mean in relationship to there? What is the coronary assessment? I'm just going to fly over these. We don't have time to go. We have too much to cover. What is the hypocholesterolemia? What do you get off of that? Let's just look at that one. He says the cholesterol is a little low. Cholesterol is very important to the immune system. Production of hormone, energy, cell and nerve structures. And then it goes on to talk about there's good things that you can do to help increase the natural intake and build up of cholesterol in the body. The good thing, I mean, it's more dangerous to have low cholesterol than high cholesterol because of the hormones and the good stuff that's formed here. So we use krill oil, we use fish oil. So that says in the report, gosh, do some good essential fatty acids. There's low blood sugar problems. How do you say that? Well, but here's the nutrients, here's the important things that we found in the blood test, and here's some potential nutrients that you could give. Now, I am not going to mention specific products in here, but all the ones that I use either come from BioEnergect or from Zymogen themselves, who manufactures both the Zymogen products and BioEnergect. So there is one product they have alone that has all of these in it, and I use that a great deal. Dehydration is also showing up here. You get that from the low sodium, high protein. Also, gastrointestinal. Why do you get that? The uric acid, blood urea nitrogen, the creatinine are all off. And so you use all this information, and you'll see in the reporting system it actually says, gosh, with low blood glucose, low blood serum, the nutrients you want to look at are, and look down here for malic acid and magnesium, use some activated B, use a source of calcium. So each one of these, here's all the symptoms that make the science say, look to the thyroid. Here's the kind of problems. And depression and lupus, gained 20 pounds over the last 12 months. Those are all the kinds of symptoms you can see in a thyroid problem. Same with anemia. Here's the blood report. Here's the statistics. Here's how you correlate the hair with it. I use other reporting systems, but I keep coming back to is because they don't correlate blood and hair together, and Dr. Van's system is the one that does. Possible infection and or inflammation. Why? Well, here's the blood studies that show you that. We've gone over a little bit of them, but there's a whole big paragraph documenting all that for you. Those findings are further supported by other blood tests that are going on in there. And what do you want to do? Oh, I wish they hadn't done that. It talks about the chronic wasting system, symptoms that are going on. Again, documented here, and he goes on to say the albumin to globulin ratio less than 1 to 0 is an ominous sign. So there's certain things that will be pointed out to you that you might want to do further testing. Even further testing and which ones you want are also listed in the reporting. Other noted blood values, creatine kinase, monocytes, SGOT. Here's the nutrition that helps support that. Very high bismuth. Use xenobiotic nutrition to do that. Very high uranium. We use a homeopathic uranium that triggers the release of that. Also, you want to use xenobiotic regular nutrition for that, as well as iodine. So when you have iodine in the body, it helps to give you the good kind of iodine. We also use glandular thyroid to help make sure you mix with the bad iodine and get it out of the body. How about hair silver? How about hair calcium, copper, zirconium, and aluminum? Again, they're all here for your research, but we cannot take time to go over these like you would do in the study. Now imagine you have this report. You say, wow, this is amazing. Take you to do this. Well, it took you no time to do this because this is all automated. You send the blood test in. Dr. Van can go over that for you in a moment, and it comes out to you in your computer 24 hours later or 48, and the report is printed out for you. You didn't have to know all this stuff. The report prints out for you, and you learn as you go. So if you're just getting started in this, Dr. Van will show you in his work which tests he recommends you do, and he has a regular panel, a Merkle panel that we use. A lot of times we'll add vitamin D. I just did one today where he had an insulin as well, and we did a mono study because of the symptoms this young girl was having. But all this is laid out for you, and then this printout comes where you sit down and review it and give it to your patient. And I think Dr. Van actually has his staff give him the report, and he called to see if they have any questions. So he's automated a lot of things here. So what's going on with aluminum, cadmium, nickel, tin, titanium, hair, magnesium? Here's all the values that we just found. Then he also lists in the report for you lifestyle and dietary recommendations, so you don't have to sit down and type all this in all the time. Things to avoid, balancing blood sugar. How about strength training? Is that good for you? How much water consumption? And then we've listed here for you in our reporting, we have him list either BioInterject, which is made by Zymogen, or Zymogen product, which is over 250 products to choose from. But in this particular patient, we need homeopathic uranium. We've got to chelate out the bad guys as we start releasing them from the tissues. We always want to use an essential fatty acid. When we start releasing the homeopathic uranium, other heavy metals will start falling out. So you want to use a chelation product with DMSA, EDTA, etc. Those are definitely available. We teach you how to use those in the seminars. Adrenal support is very important here. Dr. Van will tell you, he doesn't believe in giving everybody adrenal. He gives everybody adrenal that needs it. But if you don't take care of these underlying problems here, you'll have them on adrenal support forever and never fix the problem. So you want to clear up the heavy metals, get rid of the toxins, while you support their adrenals, and then do other things to help support those adrenals as well. Krill oil, I'm a big believer in that. It's very effective. One that I use that's manufactured in the Zymogen line is like taking 3 or 4 or 5 regular fish oil capsules. I get along better with this. Dr. Brett and I have to work to keep our cholesterol higher. Ours has inherently low from our genetic predisposition. This has been an answered prayer for me. I don't burp it up or belch it. It's elevating my cholesterol into a healthy range. Again, we do halogen detox. We have a homeopathic chlorine, fluorine, bromine. That was a lot of the reasons she was having autoimmune problems. well, gosh, you never give iodine with autoimmune problems. Well, we do, and we monitor it, and you may have autoimmune numbers come up slightly, your TSH come up a little while. Usually they'll normalize in 3 to 6 months, and the patient gets well, because every cell in the body needs iodine. So if you're trying to not give them what they really need to prevent from changing the numbers, I think that's misguided. So I know some people disagree with that, but we'll put it to the test. Dr. Mead from LabRex agrees with that. Many of the other people have done this for years and got incredible results with it. In digestive, I like the plant enzymes because they're a wide range from pH all the way to 10. Functional detox food, fit foods, Zymogen has dozens of them. They're incredible. You always want to make sure you balance the homocysteine. You want to balance methylation. The number one thing the body does all day long is take in oxygen. It reduces it, gets rid of carbon dioxide. That's what we do to stay alive. We're oxygen animals. The secondary thing we do all day long is methylation. And many, many people do not have enough B12, folic acid, and many people have genetic problems where they cannot convert into the right nutrients, the methyl tetrahydrofolate. So there's products that you can get that has that, a standalone, and other supportive items and nutritionals that help your methylation process. I check every patient for that. That activated Bs actually has activated folic acid and B12. Immune support, so we use viral support, bacteria support, very specific nutrition, and we talk about that in the seminars that we're doing in the webinar. Liver detox nutrients, I have a whole amount that I have put together for that. Anti-inflammation or declam nutrients, specific minerals. When you start pulling the heavy metals out, and you want to make sure you give the proper trace minerals back in there. This particular person needs iron, as we saw, and of course vitamin E to help that whole process. So this is a secondary test that was run. So I'm going clear back to 2010 because this is when I started researching with his reporting. And now 3 years later, we're still finding it the most effective reporting system there is. So in this young girl, you saw the report to begin with on 3/30 of 2010, less than a little over 2 months, definitely less than 3 months, we can see that this raised from 22 up to 38. Red went away to optimal here. 39 went all the way down to 5. We reduced your nutrition and chiropractic treatment, because that's what we do, 39.20 down to 5.8 in a little over 60 days. And you can see here, Dr. Van's kind of a sense of humor here. He has a smiley face if you got improvements and a frowny face if you didn't. So all the greens are where the improvements are. And you have to realize every patient is different. You never give the same thing to every patient that has lupus. That'd be using drugs. You don't do that. You find out what they need, you give it to them, you reevaluate 60 to 90 days later, and then adjust the nutrition and your care according to what they need. But the red blood cell got better, the hemoglobin got better, and the most impressive thing of all is she went from 99 in her SED rate, her ESR, all the way down to 43. Reduced it over half in a little over 60 days. What would that be, 67 days? I mean, yeah, 67 days. Well, that's impossible, but it happens every day in what we do in our office, and that's what we want to teach you how to do. And this girl went into remission. She wanted to quit care right then because she felt so much better. All the symptoms of her lupus was gone. And that's another thing that you can do with this blood test is you just say, well, that's great. We have a lot of smiley faces here, but we still have some frowny faces. You're in transition. It's important we follow through this until we get almost everything white in there, and then we check you. I want to do my blood test at least twice a year and encourage our patients to do that and keep up with regular care. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Merkle now, and I'm going to let him close us right on down. We'll be on next month, the third Thursday, just like always. And we'll be talking about other things that Dr. Merkle is going to continue on here on lab testing. Dr. Merkle, I turn it over to you.
Wow, that was very exciting. And I tell you, I feel like cheering. And that girl's life has been changed. And I believe you have saved her life by what you did, John. And that is absolutely phenomenal. And I know there's kids like that in every community that needs this type of help. And one of the things about the blood work that John was very clear, I mean, those are phenomenal results, all without drugs, that she's going to continue to improve. But also, you can see from as you test and do this, that if she gets tested regularly, that she will see changes, and she'll get worse in the blood before she has physical symptoms. So, true, you'll see changes in the blood that she's getting worse before she starts to fail and start to have lupus symptoms again. But boy, that's
Man,
so
I'm going to jump in here for a second. She actually went out of care because she got too cocky how well she felt. Got married. She felt so good. She got married, and now she started having symptoms again. Came back into the office, and we'll get those blood tests for you. She got trashy for over a year and was starting to go back again. And then the symptoms started showing up. Now got her back in a program to get her leveled out.
Okay. Yep. And thanks, John, because that is really what's going to happen. John, can you see my screen okay?
I can.
Okay. All right. Well, I am Dr. Merkle. There's no picture, and I am honored to be able to be speaking to you today. And I know we don't have a lot of time, but I'm just going to go ahead and get going. And John, if you see anything wrong with my presentation, go ahead and break in, let me know. But we're on the second slide now, the truth about lab testing and nutrition. And
it didn't change.
Okay, all right. Let me see if I can.
If it doesn't change for you, just tell me and I'll change them every time. But
oh, okay. You know, I forgot to change presenter.
Okay.
How about that? Do you see my screen now?
I think so. The screen, go forward and let me see.
The truth about nutrition here.
I've got it.
Oh, let's see. We're having a little technical. Okay. Now, do you see my screen there?
I can't tell. I'm still in control of it. But if you'll just tell me to change, I'll change it every time. You don't have to worry about it.
All right. Oh, okay. I know what I did. There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
So my screen now, hold on just 1 second. Let me pull it up here. All right. I got to zip down to where I need to be. That was very nice, though, John. Okay. And we're up and running. All right. There I am. And I'm just going to do some brief things about why I believe lab testing is so important. And I know insurance rarely pays for lab testing when done by DC, but people will pay cash for something they see as a value. My practice has been 100% cash for about the last 20 years. And I've been doing lab testing, and people will pay cash for this. And they will pay a lot more than this, chiropractors, than they will for an adjustment. And labs are expensive, but there are discount co-ops. We'll talk about that a little bit in a few minutes here that can provide dramatic discounts. And Science-Based Nutrition is a co-op that provides discounts and passes discounts right to the doctors to help get better pricing. If you happen to live in New York or New Jersey or Rhode Island, if you have questions, you can email us, but we have ways for you to get special discount pricing for you as well, even though you're in a no third-party pay state. This is phenomenal what you can get now for discounted pricing. Okay. And, okay, let's back up. It takes a lot of time to do it by hand, and I think John showed you how easy it is once you get using lab testing, how much easier it goes. Lab testing and nutrition, the most expensive vitamin is one that works. And they can always buy a cheap vitamin, but buying quality nutrients is critical. And this is what Zymogen is putting this presentation on for. And John's got the experience to back this up. Now, truth about laboratory testing, if you are using nutrition, I believe there's greater liability when treating without testing properly. Treating without objective testing is really guessing. And I want you to, one of the things that I talk about is becoming a cultural authority on health in your community. I know Dr. Brimhall and his son and the people are experts in their community, and that's what we want for every one of you in your community, is to be the go-to guy, the expert. And science-based nutrition is about just that, adding science to nutrition practice. And you're going to have improved outcomes even with your neuromusculoskeletal patients. So let's start with Kevin. And I know Kevin, Dr. Brimhall went over a case. We're going to go over a couple here just to give you an idea of why it's so important. Because here we got Kevin. He's got a cholesterol that's high at 454 and triglycerides. He'd actually had 36, had a little physical done. He went to his doctor, medical doctor, who ran a little lipid panel and triglycerides. or actually a lipid panel and a CBC, found he had high cholesterol and high triglycerides, and he was recommended he take a statin drug, but he thought he was a little too young, so he came in to see me, but he's on a medication jet. He craves sugar, sodas, and chocolate. You know, who doesn't like that stuff? He has a little decrease in sexual function. He's already seen a chiropractor for 6 months. He's not really improving very well, and his adjustments aren't holding. And he's a little tired, so he has increased panic, anxiety, malaise. He drinks a couple of cans of caffeine-free Coke a day. Chiropractors, you guys see these, and all the other practitioners, you see people like this every day in your practice. What was his concern? He's a little tired. Well, how many out there is a little bit tired? That's what he comes in with. He's a little tired. And I know most of your patients are a little tired. But what would you do now? To just give him another adjustment, or not my problem, just let him, just adjust him, let him take the cholesterol drug. Well, we did a blood test here, and Dr. Brimhall explained very nicely about the red, yellow, and blue, and code blue. So you have to remember the ranges, and your patients like this because they can easily see where the problem areas are. Blue, code blue. Red is danger. Yellow is warning. And if it's white, you're right in the optimum range. So you can see the red, yellow, and blue there. Let's get the highlights of Kevin's blood test. You can see his cholesterol is at 440. Now his triglycerides were at 800 are now up to 1450. And he's walking heart attack at age 36. And how's he feel? He's a little tired. He's got a creatine kinase of 1,780. Do you remember what creatine kinase is? Yes, it's muscle breakdown. But he only feels a little tired. This is a very bad test for someone who's 36. Now, I put him on a diet. If we get time, I'll show you the diet, the program. I put him on the diet. We put him on. I'll show you the list of vitamins we had him on here in just a second. This is in 2000. And in 2 months period of time, from 731 to 928, you see his blood work. Here's the first blood test compared to the second one. Just look at the colors. You can see that, yeah, there's no blue here, so that's good. You see the green smiley face means the diet is improving. May not be perfect yet, but it means it's going in the right direction. Still shows there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but overall, you've made some changes in some very important areas. So let's look at the highlights of Kevin. His glucose went down, which is nice. His liver enzymes dropped. That's good. His cholesterol dropped from 440 down to 204 in 2 months with no drugs. Triglycerides dropped beautifully. He's no longer walking heart attack. His creatine kinase dropped. And his send rate dropped too, although this wasn't as dramatic as what Dr. Brimhall's was. But his CK dropped dramatically. So, now when I'm talking to doctors about this, what would have been a probable outcome with cholesterol-lowering drugs? Well, how do cholesterol-lowering drugs work? In essence, they work by making the liver sick. And if you make the liver sick, it doesn't produce cholesterol because we all know that the liver produces cholesterol. Well, the key to this guy's problem is right here. His liver enzymes are elevated. And here's a little rule, which I encourage doctors to remember. Whenever you have an SGOT and SGPT, and they're both red or blue, and the OT is higher than the PT, you need to suspect something more serious going on. And I usually like the OT, and I usually look at that as organ failure. And probably 60 to 70% of the time when you see something that's like this with red or blue, and the OT is higher than the PT, you have organ failure, and like I said, about 60 to 70 or more, you've got hepatitis C. And now, you may not know it with your experience, but when I saw this, and I saw the high triglycerides and the high creatine kinase, I thought hep C. I did a hep C test. He's got hepatitis C. I referred him to the medical doctor so it can be reported to the CDC. And the patient elected to try something natural for a couple months. And so that's what he did, and these are the results that he's got. And now, the thing is, if he had taken a statin drug and it lowered his cholesterol, the doctor really did his job, didn't he? But the problem is that statin drug is going to cause liver failure within months, if not weeks, especially as bad as these values are already. So the question is, how much liver function can you have left and virtually no symptoms? Well, the studies show that you can live 20% is all you need to be relatively symptom-free. 20%. So by the time you have symptoms, That's why you have family or friends, neighbors that think they're healthy, and then before you know it, they're waiting on a liver transplant or they're on dialysis because you don't have symptoms until it is advanced in stage. And so 20% is all you need to have left before you have symptoms. So now we're down to why is the creatine kinase so high? That's high because you're right. That is muscle breakdown. And whenever you see this, you got to worry about which kind of muscle. That's right, the cardiac muscle, the heart muscle. So whenever we see this, you need to do something with a high creatine kinase that high. I mean, you just can't say, well, here, take some vitamins, hope it works. You need to do something. And I'd recommend that they get an EKG. Now, I have an EKG, and I'll show you the strip that I ran on them. But at least you ought to maybe send him to his medical doctor and let the medical doctor run an EKG. Or you could run the isoenzymes, the CKMM, MB, and BB to see if the CK is heart. But it would not be wrong. It would not be wrong to refer them out. Because my number one rule is make sure they don't have something they can die quickly from. And so I'll show you his EKG. But now, why is that creatine kinase so high? Well, you guys probably remember that guy called Guyton, and he's got a thought in there that I paraphrased and rephrased, and I think I say the concept better than what Guyton does. And here it is. This is my paraphrase of it. The body will break down muscle and non-essential tissue to free up nutrients and amino acids for more important function. Let me say it again so when you hear it. The body will break down muscle and non-essential tissue to free up nutrients and amino acids for more important functions. So I tell my patients, or ask my patients, what's non-essential tissue? Hair, skin, and nails, essential or non-essential? Well, they pretty much guessed that, non-essential. And thank God hair is non-essential if you look at my picture real close. Then I say muscle, bone, and joints, essential or non-essential? And then they realize, well, you know, the body will break down. Well, the body will break down muscles, what Guyton says, and non-essential tissue. So muscle's non-essential. Bone is non-essential. That's what osteoporosis is. In fact, Dr. Brimhall, one of your doctors, gave me a line I like to use a lot now myself. He tells his patient, what's more important, your leg bone, your leg muscles, or your liver? And that's what osteoporosis is. The body's saying those bones in your leg aren't as important as your liver. So it's going to take the minerals out of the bones to preserve liver function or that type of thing. So muscle, bone, and joints are non-essential. So let me ask you this. Do you remember this guy was getting adjusted? His adjustments weren't holding? Are you surprised his adjustments weren't holding with his CK like that? What's more important, neck joints or liver? Neck joints or liver? What do you think? Okay, so we got hair, skin, and nails, muscle, bone, and joints. We all know all those are non-essential. Okay, well, let's just say, what are essential parts? Well, how about heart, lungs, brain, kidneys, and you can probably throw a couple more in there too. But those things are more essential. Now, I got a big one here for you guys I want you to think about, and I apologize I don't have time to go into great detail on this. But hormones. Are hormones essential or non-essential? Well, let me ask you this. Are you surprised that Kevin has a decline in sexual function and sex drive? What's more important, an erection or your liver? All right, I know some of you guys are laughing out there, but really, having sex or your liver? Well, truly. And here's a little consultation tip for you docs out there. Well, the first sign of poor health in men is a decline in sexual function. So hopefully that gives you some idea on what's happening here with Kevin. And I tell you, with Kevin's, if you were just a chiropractor not doing this type of work, and he got fed up with his other chiropractor, adjusting him more and more, not getting better, what are you going to do? You're going to adjust him more? Do therapy, lasers, or decompression? Is that what Kevin needs? Well, he might need that, but it's not going to work until you take care of this important metabolic problem first, right? That's right. So now we've got a nutritional informed consent, and Dr. Brimhall has this, and you can read through this. This was approved by the ACA, by the legal department, and basically what this says is a vitamin is not a drug, and essentially says, please advise any suggestion nutritional advice is not intended as a primary treatment. Nutritional counseling and vitamin recommendations is provided solely to upgrade the quality of foods, patient's diet in order to supply good nutrition, in supporting the physiological and biomechanical process of the human body. So every patient signs this. So we're not treating their disease. I'm not treating his hepatitis. We're just getting him healthier. And you saw the results we've got. There's the nutrients that he was put on, and this was again back several years ago. And here's his EKG, and his EKG showed atrial rhythm. And these things here, and I know you probably don't remember these things. I don't remember how to read an EKG either. But by an interpretive EKG, it reads it for you. And so, after 2 months, and the first test had all these problems. In 2 months, it shows normal ECG. Is this good evidence-based care? It sure is. This is dynamite evidence-based care. And you think some of that creatine kinase that was so extremely high was probably some heart muscle too breaking down? Sure was. Very nice improvement. So the nice thing about using the system that we develop, science-based nutrition, is you don't have to know everything about every disease. Trust me, there's people who will know a lot more than I do about hepatitis and lupus and cancer and these type of things. And we don't have to know we don't have to know all the biochemistry. In fact, John's been out a little bit longer than I have, but I've been out over 30 years, and we now know an exponential amount more biochemistry than we did before, and it's impossible for everyone to know the biochemistry and to fine-tune it that way. All we have to do, now here's the key. People understand the objectivity, validity, and necessity of blood work, and they will pay for it. And here's an important point for you, for chiropractors. People expect real doctors to test their blood when they have real problems. Real doctors test their patients. If you tell your patients they got a real problem, you better document it. So if we test properly, we know what the tests mean, to prove what we've seen in the test, we test the chart progress, what do you think will happen? See, we aren't going to treat the patient's disease, whatever it is, but we can probably help the problems in the testing, just like Dr. Brimhall showed you. When these problems improve, the patient more likely to get healthier, symptoms of their disease will improve, and we're looking for progress, not perfection. And just like Kevin is not cured of hepatitis, clear back to 2000, I believe you're never cured of hepatitis. This still gets tested twice a year, and he's still in remission. Since they're never cured, I just say they're in remission. And just like Dr. Brimhall's patient, she's always going to have lupus, but as long as she follows through and continues to get tested and checked, she won't have any symptoms of it. So most of your patients have been all over the country seeing the disease experts, and a disease expert basically is a reductionist. They give you a drug to reduce inflammation, a drug to reduce your cholesterol, a drug to reduce your high blood pressure. We are the health experts. And here's a little quote I like to, or a little comment, a thought I want you guys to think of. If you get someone healthy enough, does it matter the name of the disease? Let me say it's a critical point. If you get someone healthy enough, does it matter if they have lupus or MS or cancer or hepatitis? It really doesn't, does it? And so first is foundational. And foundational is looking for those things that are truly the critical problems. The toxic elements that he saw, or the hepatitis, or the extreme anemia, or these other things. The second is symptom or disease focus. And during the lecturing, we do give protocols for infection protocols and how to take a crisis situation down. But if you, and even the adrenals, like Dr. Brimhall mentioned. But if you never fix the foundational problems, you're treating the symptoms forever, and actually the functional things forever. Like, now, if we'd have tested Kevin for low adrenals and low hormones and low adrenal transmitters, he would have had them. And we could have treated those things forever, and he wouldn't have gotten better because we didn't fix his hepatitis. Just like, and so it's very important to remember the difference between functional testing versus foundational testing. And and I know we're going to be running short on time, but I just want to show you what is possible with this type of concept. Lady presents in 2007, diagnosed with breast cancer, 48 years of age. This lady's a beautiful girl, trim, thin. Listen to this. She exercises virtually every day. She is vegan, eats organic food, and takes a boatload of vitamins already. And she gets a mammogram, and they diagnosed cancer, metastatic cancer, from the mammogram. It's like that. But she comes in immediately to me before she has anything medically done, before anything is done. And we immediately ran the blood test that you've seen, and we ran a tumor marker, the CA2729, which is the most common tumor marker for breast cancer, and hers is 185. It's supposed to be less than 38. Now, with that number, it tells me the cancer already metastasized, and she started on a program within 1 week before any biopsy, chemo, radiation, surgery, or hormone therapy. Her tumor marker dropped 45 points from 185 down to 140. Holy cow, in 1 week. That's more than I didn't know what to expect, but that's, now this is, we've seen this before many times, but I'm always thrilled when it happens. And within a month, it dropped in half, and by 3 months, it dropped down to 35, less than clinical. Now, and again, this is before, well, let me go. 3 weeks after she'd been on a program, and it dropped in half, she had a lumpectomy. I didn't recommend she get a biopsy. I said either take it out or leave it alone. She had a lumpectomy, and 3 out of 3 lymph nodes were positive, and which I was pretty sure it would be. Radiation was immediately recommended daily for 6 weeks, followed with chemo, and was told that she would have probably 8 to 10 years to live, which rheumatologists thought was pretty good because it was already metastatic in all the lymph nodes that they tested. Well, now she's 48. She feels great, looks great, and now the doctor said you got 8 to 10 years to live. Really? In my world, what's the doctor saying, the oncologist saying? If you followed my advice, based on all my years of experience and everybody I've treated and seen and done, if you followed my advice, in 8 to 10 years, you will be dead. And so when I saw her the first time, here's the question I asked her. I said, if you delay chemo and radiation 1 week, just delay it 1 week. I'm not saying don't ever do it. I say just delay it 1 week. Will that make any difference in your long-term outcome? That's even ask your oncologist that. Well, she gave me a week and it dropped 45 points. Now what do you ask her? Now what do you say? Well, okay, give me a couple more weeks. And I've never told her not to do chemoradiation, but you live and die by that number. And as long as the number is good, you're good. In fact, I tell patients, not as important how high the number is, but the direction it's going. As long as it's going down, you're winning. If it's going up, you're losing. Now, that was back in 2007. And her numbers are still good. And I don't have her most recent one on here, but she's got another one recently, about 21.2. So, does she still have breast cancer? Yeah, she still has breast cancer. But actually, if I tested everyone listening for CA2729, nobody would have a 0 because we're all fighting cancer every day. In fact, some of you women would probably have numbers in the teens, and you're still considered non-cancer. Her total cost in my practice to see me for 3 months, all the labs, all the nutrients, everything else, cost $3,000 out of pocket. Now, is that a lot of money? It's a bargain, isn't it? What would it have cost out of pocket if she'd done chemo and radiation? It's not unusual. I see patients before they see me, after 6 months of chemo and radiation, they got $500,000 worth of bills. $500,000. And then what's their copay and out-of-pocket stuff on that? Well, more than $3,000. I like to tell doctors, this is a good thumbnail, to say, you know, give me 3 months, 3 or 4 months, and $3,000, and let's see what we can do. And it's amazing how often that we see results like this. And so, not saying she's cured, but also just a little practice, a little business tip here. How many adjustments would it take for you to generate $3,000? How much therapy and decompression, everything else would it take for you to generate that? This is all cash out of pocket. And what was my time involved on this? Maybe an hour and a half in that first 3 months. And now she gets tested every couple months and or about every 6 months. But whenever she feels like, she'll run this panel, or she'll run that tumor marker to see where she's at. So I'm perfectly fine with that too. Okay. Well, here's her blood test. You can see a CA2720. The main question to ask here is, if she's doing everything right you could possibly think of, why did she get breast cancer? Well, you can see her tumor marker down here, 185. She's a little anemic, okay. Her cholesterol is 238, but her HDL is 102. Oh my gosh, that's great. But nothing really major. Okay, early diabetic, but nothing major. So we did a hair test. We found, just like John did on a lupus patient, she's got same color pattern. Blue is extreme, and she's got extreme high aluminum, extreme high cadmium, high barium, and high platinum, and high titanium, but we did a DMSA chelation challenge. Now look carefully here. This is just collecting 6 hours of urine. We see a lot of aluminum, which correlates with her hair test. So a lot of aluminum is coming out in the regular hair and the urine, but look at this. When we use DMSA, a chelator, and a challenge, the chelation challenge, we see one of the highest levels of lead we've ever seen. So we got extreme high lead, but notice there's no lead or mercury coming out the urine or the hair. So here's my theory. Her levels of toxins were becoming so high in her body, her immune system was distracted because of this, to the point that she got cancer. It distracted her immune system so much that her body got cancer, which goes to, how do we take care of people like this? If I'd have just thrown more cancer vitamins at her, would she have gotten better if we never took care of this? I know there's a lot of people who have cancer treatment and vitamins and everything else, but if we never took care of this, would we ever get this patient better? I don't believe so, and I believe this is what's going to give us better results than anybody else, because we are looking not just to throw nutrients that's going to boost the immune system, but we're going to be looking at things that could be dragging it down and greatly adversely affecting the immune system. And I don't have time to teach chelation. Maybe John will have me on again, and I can go over and teach you guys all a nice, quick and easy chelation protocol that we use in our practice.
Dr. Merkle, I tell you what's going to happen here. We're going to run out of time. We're going to go ahead next month, go as far as you can today, and maybe show them the slides at the end of what we're going to be doing. But I think let's continue on next month, and let's show them that oral chelation is very powerful next month. Okay, we can do that. Do you want me to go right to the end on some basic things here?
No, not yet. Let's keep going. We're having fun. Okay. And, well, here's the nutrients we put her on, the first list of vitamins we put her on, and her vitamin list for 2 months was about $1,200. What a bargain. I mean, this is tremendous, and I know there's people in your community that would like to know that you doctors can all do everything I'm doing now. Nothing magical here. It's just do it. The testing is key. You get the test, the report will tell you what to do. And again, that's a repeat of the other one, but I'm going to repeat that thought again. If you get a patient healthy enough, does it really matter the name of the disease? So, and here's the diet we put Rochelle on. Oh, by the way, that lady with breast cancer I just showed you. If you go to my website, 3000health.com, that's my local patient website, you can actually go online. And I had her as a guest on my radio program. I have a radio program been on for 18 years in Dayton, Ohio, the top-rated radio program in Dayton at that time. And you can actually hear her on the radio talk about her case. And we've got other cancer cases and things like that, but you actually hear her talk about it, which is pretty cool. So here's what we started her on low-carb diet. And we call this the low-carb program here. We're having some technical difficulties here. Let's see where we're at. Okay, can you hear me okay out there, John?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Okay, I thought we were having a little technical difficulties here. Okay, so here we are. We're going to start on a low-carb diet. Avoid breads, crackers, pasta, those type of things. And when possible, use organic meats. And you guys can read through this. I'm going to get to highlights. Now, what we have is what we call Category 1, Category 2, and Category 3. Now, these foods are based on glycemic index. So, now they can eat any of these proteins. And then on Category 1, if they're on diabetic, if they are diabetic on insulin or oral medication, they're going to start on Category 1. And then their Category 1 if their A1C is over 8 or the urinary glucose over 500. But the thing is, we're only going to let them use Category 1 for Rochelle, who had breast cancer. We're going to let her eat these proteins and these fruits and vegetables. Can I mention, someone online has their mic open, and we're getting a lot of feedback. Either the people at someone on there has their mic open, and we're getting a lot of feedback. I don't know if they're even listening, but you need to be aware that all your noise is coming through. So we've got, those are the fruits, and here's the vegetables we want people to eat, and these are the vegetables. So Category 1, you can eat those fruits and those vegetables, and that's all you can eat. Category 2, it's a little easier. Now, a lot of times they use the the A1C is a guide, or the urinary glucose, and you see how it's not quite as extreme. And now we add foods from category 2, the fruits and vegetables category 2, and include those with category 1. So we had Rochelle and Kevin on category 1, which is very low carb, which takes stress off the liver and immune system, and we're providing nutrients that are very easily digested and absorbed. And so it takes a lot of stress off the system. So all of our hepatitis cases, cancer cases, all start off with category 1, and we try to add category 2 as soon as we can, and then there's category 3. And can you see why the category 1 diet's going to work, the low carb? We're going to work to take stress off starve the cancer, because cancer feeds on sugar. And I know I'm getting off on some things here. Here's my standard panel. This is what's called the Merkle panel. It's got the glucose, the A1C, uric acid, kidney panel, electrolytes, protein. We've got a thorough liver panel, serum iron, ferritin, lipid panel, thyroid, TSH, CBC and differential, sed rate, CRP, CK, and vitamin D. And just a little clue on this, and I apologize for you listeners out there for the extra noise in the background. This test with the SBN co-op price through LabCorp, I believe, is less than $130. Including vitamin D, that's less than $130. That is a tremendous value right there, because there are truly labs around the country and insurance companies that are being billed over $3,000 for this exact same blood test that you can get your patients, about $130. So right there is tremendous value, and we'll give you some other things on that in a minute here. There's some quick reference guide.
Dr. Merkle, let me interject just a couple of things here.
Okay.
Just a second, I'd like to add a couple of things. People out there, if they're not used to doing this, or even if they are and they're doing it by hand, everything you have showed us comes in the original report. Like the dietary thing, you didn't have to buy an extra book or anything. This comes out where you can read it yourself and you give it to your patients, and all that is already there. So that was a real benefit to me when I first started to get into this. I didn't do blood because I was an AK guy, and I didn't see any reason for it. I was helping patients with AK that nobody was helping from the hospital. But then I found out, how could I prove what I'd done, until I started putting this together with what we already do. And so when you get the reporting in, two things I want to bring out. Number one, the co-op blood testing comes along with this program. And number two, when you get the program and the report comes to you, all this information is there. You don't have to go hunt and peck or type it in yourself. It comes there. So that was a major benefit for me. So go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
And I appreciate that, and that is true. These reports you're looking at are completely computer generated, and I don't have a report in front of me, but you can download a copy at the BrimhallAdvantage.com, a sample report, and you'll see that it's got the most comprehensive, thorough report, because it incorporates the blood, the hair, the medications that they're on, because the medications will affect their labs, and it takes that in consideration, their symptoms, and it puts it all into a thorough, comprehensive, unique report. And it will provide dietary recommendations as well as specific vitamin recommendations. And the beauty of what Dr. Brimhall has done for you, as he has brought in Zymogen and the Bioenergetics line, so your report will print out exactly the nutrients that patient needs. Not just the name of the product, but Dr. John's gone in and worked with us, so it will print out the exact dosage. The number of pills that you need to take will be printed out on a report. So it's a beautiful thing. So don't think you got to know all this blood work to get started. The report will explain it to you, and you'll learn as you go. Your patients don't have the luxury of waiting until you think you know it all. And I've got here a quick reference guide, and you'll see the uric acid is low. Or if you're not familiar with with these things, you might be confused about, okay, what's the difference between a creatinine and a creatine kinase? Well, this here goes a creatinine that's low. It could be low protein, or those things. If it's high, it could be kidney. It's just a quick reference guide is all I've got for you here. I mean, that's all I'm showing you. Now, one of the things about these couple slides that I want to make very clear is, see the protein deficiency here? There's a lot of things here associated with protein deficiency, as well as chronic fatigue. Now, what do most doctors know about chronic fatigue, or do for it? Well, not much. But would you think if your liver's sick and it's causing chronic fatigue, that if you get the liver well, or you get these blood values improved, you think that's going to help chronic fatigue too? Well, sure it will. Now, protein deficiency, if you just cruise through, you'll see a lot of protein deficiency showing up here. I believe that this is an epidemic of unparalleled proportions in our society today because of one drug that people take so routinely and almost without thought, and it's that little purple pill, your Prilosec, Prevacid, those type of things, your proton pump inhibitors that reduce your stomach acid. If you reduce stomach acid, you absolutely cannot digest protein efficiently. And that will lead, in fact, when you start doing lab work like I've been doing for many, many years, you'll see people in that purple pill, they got low protein. They have low protein, they're going to have, without protein, you're going to develop anemia. You need protein for red blood cells, hemoglobin. You're going to have low thyroid. You're going to have low liver function. You're going to have low albumin and globulin. You're going to have low uric acid, low creatine kinase, all because that little purple pill starts you on a state of malnutrition. And that's why it's very important that you look at everything and see what's going on. Just a little tip. Chloride is one of the primary indicators. If you're low in hydrochloric acid on your blood test, see chloride here? If you're low in chloride, your body can't make hydrochloric acid. So if you see chloride on a blood test, you need hydrochloric acid. But if you see high chloride, then you need other digestive enzymes. And that's one thing that Dr. Brimhall is bringing to you, is that solution is going to print out on your report. Okay, so I don't have time to go through all this, but how do we analyze the blood? Okay, there are truly millions of blood tests being done. There's hundreds of elements to test. There's 50 key elements, and then there's specific tests, like you might run a hormone panel or a cancer marker or some other thing like that. And so we start with that. Now we're going to start with a single blood test. Or let's say you got a low red blood count, you got anemia. What does one blood test by itself tell you? Well, not much, does it? Doesn't tell you why, but suppose you got anemia, lower blood count, and your liver's sick. Can a sick liver cause anemia? Yes, it can. How about sick kidneys? Can sick kidneys cause anemia? Sure it can. So you see, the more testing we do, we're going to see why maybe that's causing it. Now we're going to look at drugs, drug side effects, and drugs are on. If people are on, if they're on any drugs, could that cause anemia? Well, sure it can, because the drugs have to be eliminated or neutralized by the liver and eliminated through the kidneys mostly. And so virtually anyone that's on any drugs at all, you'll find that they're yellow, mildly anemic. And the more drugs, the more they go on, the more anemic they're going to be. And so that's going to be a factor. Now, additional things. We also look at on this is lifestyle things, drug side effects and additional lifestyle. Suppose that they drink, suppose they're strict vegan. Are you surprised that they're anemic? Or they drink 6 cans of Coke a day. Are you surprised they're anemic? Sure. So anyway, and once you get all that information, what one blood test means, and all the other objective data you look at, all their subjective findings, all their lifestyle and drugs are on, you'll put a diagnosis and treatment. And so, and here's what we're going through. Everything that's red, yellow, or blue on your report is going to be covered in the actual verbiage of the report. And it's going to show all the supporting tests. It's going to list them there. All the positive findings that that patient has is going to be on that report. And when you read, you'll see that. It's going to put the associated values, the medications and lifestyle that could contribute toward that anemia. And then you end up with a diagnosis and treatment. So here's this nice slide which shows, can you see that the report's going to look at, okay, the SED rate, the associated values, the supporting value, lifestyle, things like that, and diagnosis, the arsenic. But can you see, if you only do half of this, see what I'm going to say, the patient might not do all the testing that Merkle recommends, just to do half of it, you're going to miss half the information you need to make a thorough evaluation. So don't create a problem for yourself right in the beginning by not doing the testing that's required. And if you do the testing properly, and because the testing is so inexpensive, it's always better to do all the testing right up front than do a piece at a time. And but here's some acute testing you should be doing, and I'm going to roll through this so we have time for questions. And if you have slow response to the muscle treatment, and I've just got some other things on here, you might, if your patients aren't responding, aren't healing, aren't holding their adjustments, then maybe there's other factors you're not aware of, like diabetes. And I can guarantee you, there are patients in your chiropractic practice right now, full-blown diabetic, and nobody knows it. I can also guarantee that there's some people who have hepatitis, and they don't know it. Now, I don't have time to go over hepatitis in detail here. And I'll bet they have kidney disease too, because do you remember how much liver and kidney function can be left and have no symptoms? 20%. So guaranteed, you have these people in your practice. They don't know, and you don't know either because you're not testing right. Thyroid, all these other things in through here. Here's the sample report that you get. Again, I don't have time to go over all this, but you can. I know you can download a sample report at the brimhalladvantage.com, and you can read through that, study it, and that's the type of report you're going to get for every one of your patients. Now, I'm going to end up with this case here, just a normal guy. And it's going to just show you how important this is. This guy did not want to come in. He's got high blood pressure, high cholesterol, a little indigestion, a little ED, and a little erectile dysfunction there, a little mild fatigue, neck stiffness, and headaches. He's on aspirin. He's on a statin drug, lisinopril. His medical doctor says, you're just getting old. And all of his buddies have got the same thing. He says, I'm just normal. And he doesn't. So why is he in my office? And, well, his wife had a serious, very serious health problem 2 years before he came in. I'm not going to go over her case. But she decided that her husband and her son needed tested. And so after I went through the consultation, I said, well, we need to do some testing. He said, wait a minute. I've got to get all the testing done that my wife did. And I said, well, she had a lot of testing done because she had some serious problems. She said, my wife said I got to get testing done the same that she did. And I said, well, okay, it's going to cost you $1,200. He said, yeah, my son too. Well, if the wife says that her husband and her son are going to get tested like she did, you know what's going to happen? They're going to get tested. So $1,200 for each. Now, he didn't think he's got a problem. He's normal. But we did the testing. Now, there's some things we did on her we didn't do on him, but we did what I do on almost every one of my patients. We did a hair test and we did a blood test. And now on the hair test, gee, you see the high uranium like Dr. Brimhall found. Now, we generally don't have as much toxicity like Brimhall does out there, like Dr. Brimhall does in Arizona and Utah and things. But we do have some people who do have some minimal levels. But he's also got high copper. Now, what's the disease of high copper? It's Wilson's disease. Can Wilson's disease cause fatigue? High blood pressure? Yeah, it can. Both things he's got. Where do you get high copper? Oftentimes water pipes. So what does this guy need? He needs a water filter. How hard is that? Now, you can't see down here, but he's got, and it's on the other slide, he's got low vitamin D. Yeah, it's not on there. He's got extreme low, code blue low vitamin D. Now, can you guys help low vitamin D? Yeah, that's pretty easy. But can low vitamin D cause high blood pressure, high cholesterol, ED, whole boatload of chronic fatigue? Every one of those things can it. And for about $40 a year, you can provide 5,000 international units a day of vitamin D. That's easy. Now, if you look on up, he's got high ferritin and a high hemoglobin. He's got hemochromatosis. What does this guy need to do? He needs to donate blood. But can hemochromatosis cause high blood pressure, ED, chronic fatigue? Absolutely. So you've helped this guy probably 80% by getting him a water filter, vitamin D, and donating blood. Aha, aha, aha. Now he's got elevated liver enzymes. Why are his liver enzymes elevated? Right, because he's on a statin drug and a blood pressure drug. Exactly. So there's some other things that you can review on that. Now, we also did the chelation test. His wife had done it, and I do this test on about 80% of all of my new patients. And it is amazing what we always find. And I'm sure John's finding the same thing. And I know his son is and that type of thing. But on just regular urine, just collecting 6 hours urine, nothing shows up. But now we use DMSA. Holy cow, he's loaded. There's lead and mercury that is not coming out. We have to use a chelator to help pull it out. Let's go back and look at the hair. There's only a tiny bit of lead coming out and really no significant mercury at all. So could higher and higher levels of lead and mercury going into a system cause high blood pressure, high cholesterol, chronic fatigue, ED? Sure can. And so this is how easy it's going to be, docs. If you test properly, the report's going to come out and show, boom, there it is. He's got high lead and mercury that's not coming out. You're going to look at the hair. Boom, there it is right there. Easy. Oh, he's got low vitamin, and I wish I had that code blue low vitamin D shown for you. Say, that's easy. And donating blood, that's easy. I would bet that probably half, if not maybe 60 or 70% of your patients, just like Dr. Brimhall's lupus patient, was easy once you test properly. And that's how even the most difficult ones. Rochelle with metastatic breast cancer was easy once I tested properly. And that's where your practice is going to be too. Now, if you did just functional testing, if you did just a saliva and urine and that type of thing, you'd think that Herb, the guy we just saw who had all that, had high blood pressure and high cholesterol and ED, do you think he probably had low testosterone, and he had low adrenals and low neurotransmitters and low fatty acids and all these things? Well, sure he did. Well, sure he had all that. But which came first, the high copper or the low testosterone? The low vitamin D or the low growth hormone? What do you think? Sure, you guys all know the foundational testing that I just showed you. The hair, the blood that we did, and the chelation challenge came first. And you can treat the adrenals forever. You can do testosterone, and you know what? The patient's going to get worse. So you be a better doctor. We routinely get people off testosterone. We routinely get people off these bioidentical hormones and things like that because I always know that there's something deeper going on. So I tell you, just that can revolutionize your practice right there. So John, I'm going to roll over in some things. I want to show you some things here. If you guys want to get started on this, Dr. Brimhall and I are working together, and the normal cost to join Science-Based Nutrition is $4.99, and there's some things Dr. Brimhall is doing. We're providing a discount, and you sign up under Dr. Brimhall with Science-Based Nutrition for $3.99, and you're going to get some tremendous benefits. First of all, you're going to get everything that Science-Based Nutrition provides on your basic online support. You're going to get the reports. You're going to get online training. All SBN training and education lectures are available online. We have videos that show you how to do patient entry, how to answer the phone. We've got online training videos on everything you need to do. We've got on how to report it. You've got the color-coded report that you see. And some other things that Science-Based Nutrition does, we provide newsletters. Every month we provide a newsletter based with nutrition orientation to start to build your nutrition practice. And these are all researched, supported, and they're all basically topically based. So in your materials, you're going to get a newsletter for prostate, and there's a whole boatload that's going to be in your system that are topically oriented. You'll see breast cancer, you'll see prostate, you'll see some things on water, all these different things, but you're going to get a new one each month automatically. And there's also a newsletter you're going to get from Science-Based Nutrition that's going to answer some doctor questions or some other things like that, and all very good. And that's only $3.99. I mean, that's a bargain. I got to tell you guys, everybody listening should sign up with that, because if nothing else, $3.99, the discounts you will get with the co-op pricing for the labs and for the blood and the hair is going to be a greater discount than if you became Dr. Brimhall's patient or my patient, because I guarantee you I'm going to charge you a normal rate for all that. But for $3.99, the pricing is just phenomenal on this to get you going. And
well, let's give it an example. A normal blood test from a lab would be about $1,500, and like he said, those are going to run just the blood alone. I'm going to say about $150 if you add everything you need to do. And then how much is a hair analysis approximately, Doc?
The hair test, again, you get discounted pricing through Doctor's Data. The normal hair test through Doctor's Data is $55, and you can get it for as low as $45 through Science-Based Nutrition. So instead of $55, I know some people are worried, well, they're going to get higher rates if you go through us. No, you're going to get lower rates because we bring the co-op pricing directly to you. So you get discounted pricing when you sign up with Science-Based Nutrition. So that's just $55 for a hair test. Excuse me, $45. You can get it for $45 rather than $55 if you go directly through Doctor's Data. And we've got the same pricing on all that stuff. So let's just be high, John, and say For $180 a patient, you can get the comprehensive blood test and the hair test. Now, for $180, they get all that. We charge our patient $550 for all the testing and the report, and us, which includes all the vitamins, the diet, everything else. It includes that includes us going over it with them, $550. Now, I've already charged them $120 for my consult. So $120 plus $550, take $180 out of that, the rest goes in your pocket, because $180 are your lab costs on that. Now, we got some doctors out on the East and West Coast, and maybe where Dr. Brimhall's at, your cost of living is higher than in Dayton, Ohio. I wouldn't doubt it. A lot of doctors on the coast charge around $700, and that's fine. I know the highest doctor, I think, charges about $1,200. But remember, your cost is $180. We've got a doctor in Chicago who is just going gangbusters, and he charges $380. He just doubles what his expense is, 160, let's say 106 or 108. He charges $380 for that, doubles it, and he says, I'm going to make my money on vitamin sales. And at $380, everybody can afford that. Trust me, everybody can afford $380 for this, and get that type of reporting. This is just an absolute steal for this. And now getting it in $100 cheaper, and now you get the specific Zymogen and Bioenergex products. And these things aren't new. These are things that Dr. Brimhall, his son, and other Brimhall providers have been using for some time to work with it. So it might be new to you, but they've been doing this and working on this for quite some time. So I'm very excited to be able to bring this to you. And there's some numbers you call, Jason, for Brimhall seminars. Now, here's an SBN member. And actually, Dr. Brimhall, this is one of your doctors made this comment to us. And he's been an SBN member for 4 years, who asked how hard it was. Whoops, let me back up to that, 'cause this is a pretty neat quote. Asked how hard it was to incorporate lab work into his practice. He used to do a lot of muscle testing. And he said that he has to work more and longer hours because he is now scheduled full for new nutrition patients 2 months in advance. He quotes that as nice. And he commonly tells his patients that the knee pain is less important than your liver or kidneys, and that the body can live without a knee, but not a liver. He adjusts patients less and has better results because he's taking care of the primary problem first. He's been in practice 12 years. Now, this doctor does no outside marketing. All of his practice is in internal marketing. We have internal marketing things, but this guy is phenomenal. How would all you doctors out there like to have a practice that is 2 months wait to see you? That would be pretty cool.
He started out as cash as well. He's a total cash practice. He's never been anything but cash.
And I will say, this is not your son.
No,
but I'm sure you know who it is. But you know who it is. But this is not your son. Your son's.
I know exactly who it is. He's been in practice the same years as my son.
And it was kind of nice that he's doing this type of work. And so it is just very exciting. It's not just Dr. Brimhall or me doing it, or his son, but there's a lot of doctors that Dr. Brimhall is training that are now using this. It's getting some very nice results. So find out more about that. You can use the Brimhall Advantage. Go to brimhalladvantage.com. And I've got a couple of things here I want to show you right here. It's going to print out your nutrients exactly with Zymogen. And Dr. Brimhall, you probably recognize these products here. I ran a sample report, and I wanted to show these products you just got in the system here, that this is a benefit of what your doctors are going to see when they use science-based nutrition, the actual product, and exactly how many per day that they're going to need. Now remember, this patient was really bad, so there's a lot of nutrients in practice, but the number of nutrients is going to reflect how bad the patient is. Now I got the form here that you can download from the brimhalladvantage.com website. All you do, you're going to fill this in, and for $3.99 you're going to get all this stuff, and you can read it. And again, you're going to get everything you need to use to get started. And you're going to get insights for complicated cases. You're going to get backup for tough cases. The nice thing about, I can tell you, the Brimhall Science-Based Nutrition Advantage is you're going to get Dr. Brimhall backing you up, and I'm going to be available too if needed. But you're going to get all the reports are truly, there is no one that's got better reports. This is a patented system, and no one's got reports anywhere near as advanced and comprehensive and thorough as ours are. And we're going to continue to train you. Their online training for your doctors, for your staff is online. It's at our website. For if you get new staff, just sit in front of the computer and they're going to learn everything they need to know to get this going. And again, now Dr. Brimhall has support staff, but we've got our own science-based nutrition staff that'll help you with any problems you got with labs, obtaining labs, finding a draw station in your area, or any little detail like that. We got great staff to help you with that. But I like this thing, Brimhall Advantage is bringing it all together. And I think with his experience with science-based nutrition and Zymogen, he's got a great combination there. So Dr. Brimhall, I'd like to thank you and Zymogen for bringing this together. And I look forward to working with you in future lectures and training your doctors to do this type of work to help your patients more, because that's really what we're all here for, to help patients get better. Thank you, Dr. Brimhall. Thank you, Dr. Brimhall.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you being on. We'd have run out of time. You guys put on your calendar the last weekend in January. You're going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, where Dr. Merkle and Dr. Singer and Dr. Brett and myself, along with others, are going to be teaching this in great detail. But we'll have Dr. Merkle on again. He did pretty good today, so we might give him a month's break, but we'll have him right back here the next month or two and go over some other reporting. So I'm going to say good night. God bless you all, and we look forward to join the Brimhall Advantage and take advantage of it like we have. It's taken me years to get Dr. Van to do this. He doesn't have to discount, but I'm kind of a